Welcome to this information session on Windows 8.1. In this session we will cover Windows 8.1 features that are available to you through the My New Desktop project. We'll be having a look at three screens. The first is the Start screen. The second is the App screen. And finally we'll have a look at the desktop. But let's start with the Start screen. You'll notice on the Start screen there are tiles and tile groups. You can move tiles around the Start screen as you like, and you can create new tile groups. If, for example, we wanted to move the Internet Explorer tile from the Windows group to the Office 2013 group, with my mouse I would click on the Internet Explorer tile and drag it to the new group. And as I release, you'll see that the Internet Explorer tile is now a part of the Office 2013 group. Say, for example, we want to create a web browsers group. You'll notice that it doesn't exist at the moment because you need at least one tile in a group for it to exist. So let's click on the Internet Explorer tile and drag it across the Start screen. You'll notice that a white bar will appear. When you see that, you can let go of the tile and a new group is created. However, you'll notice that the group hasn't got a name yet. So if I right click on the Start screen and select Name Groups, I then have the opportunity to type in the name of my group, which I will call Web Browsers. When I press the Enter key on the keyboard, I now have a new group. Say I would like to resize the Internet Explorer tile and make it small. I could right click on the tile and I could select resize, and from the two options I have I could select small. You'll notice that the tile shrinks. You'll also notice that the name disappears. However, if I hover my mouse over the tile, the Internet Explorer name reappears. Say for example I want to remove the Internet Explorer tile and the Web Browsers group from the Start screen. I could right click on the tile again and select Unpin from Start. You'll notice that both the tile and the group disappears. The group has disappeared because there's no tiles in that group anymore. We have a profile section of the Start screen. You'll notice that there's my name and my profile picture. If I click on the profile, you'll notice that there are four options. I can change my account picture, so if I click on that, you'll notice that I have profile pictures that are already loaded. So if I want to change my profile picture from the current to a new one, I could just click on the new one and you'll notice that it swaps around. If that is the only change I'd like to make to my account, I could move my mouse to the top of the screen. You'll notice that the PC settings banner appears, and if I move my mouse to the right hand side and click on the cross, you'll notice now that my profile picture has changed. The other three options you're used to seeing in previous versions of Windows: lock will lock your computer screen, sign out will sign you out of the computer, and then you allow someone else to sign in, and switch account leaves you logged in while someone else can log in as well. You'll notice that when you boot up your computer or when you unlock your computer, you'll always come back to the Start screen. There's a Power Options button. We click on that. Again, there are three options here which you're used to seeing in previous versions of Windows, except Sleep is a new name for Hibernate. Put your computer into power save mode. Finally, we have a Search button. If I click on the Search button, you'll notice that the search pane appears. You'll also notice that everywhere is selected by default. And what does that mean? That means whatever item I'm searching for, it will search for it on my computer and also the internet, providing I've got an internet connection. So say for example I type in Notepad, Windows 8.1 automatically completes the word, assuming that's what I'm going to be typing in, and it automatically finds it as well. It uses a smart search. If I want to get out of the search pane, I could click anywhere on the Start screen and the search pane disappears. Now let's have a look at the App screen. The App screen contains a list of all the applications that are installed on your computer. You'll notice that there's an alphabetic section. But you also notice that some applications which are installed on your computer, such as Word 2013, isn't under the alphabetical section, for example W. You'll notice that there are customized groups that have been created, and there's been a customized group called Microsoft Office 2013 created, where Word 2013 is available to be selected from. But you might think, I don't want to go searching for an application, but if you know the application, you can just start typing and Windows 8.1 will find it. And then if I click on Word 2013, for example, I automatically go to my desktop and the application opens up. You'll also notice that the word tile, like in previous versions of Windows, is put on the taskbar. But what's new here is if I hover over the word tile, you'll notice that a mini version of the Word document opens up, which is great because in previous versions such as XP, every instance that opens has a new tile that is put on the taskbar. If I close this version of Word, you'll notice that this is the desktop which you're used to seeing in previous versions. We have shortcuts on the desktop, we have the taskbar which we've just mentioned, but we also have a new Start button. So if I click on the new Start button, it takes me to the Start screen. And you might notice that is pretty familiar because in previous versions of Windows, when you clicked on the Start button, it brought up a Start menu. Except when you click on the new Start button, it brings up the Start screen, which is a lot easier to see the applications that are installed on your computer. If I click on the down arrow, we go back to the app screen which we discussed before in this session. That's very much the same as selecting all programs from the old Start menu. Except again, you have all the applications listed in front of you, as opposed to having to go to a folder directory to then locate an application that's installed on your computer. So you'll notice that things are easier to find in Windows 8.1. It just looks a little different. So if I click back up to the Start screen, you'll notice that as we did before, we removed the Internet Explorer tile. Say I would like to add the Internet Explorer tile back to the Start screen. If I go back to the app screen and under I find Internet Explorer, I could right click on that and select Pin to Start. You will notice that the Internet Explorer tile gets put back in the position where it was removed from and in its own group. What I want to do, I want to move the tile back to the initial group where we found it, and I want to resize it back to the initial size. And you'll see that our Start screen now looks exactly as it was when we first started this session. If I want to go back to the desktop now, I could click on the desktop tile. The last thing I'd like to cover in this session is the charm bar. If you move your mouse to the right hand corner, you'll notice that the charm bar appears, and when I move it down it becomes active. So we've looked at search already on the Start screen, so if I click on search, the search pane appears again, and this is where we can search for items from our desktop. To get out of the search pane, again click anywhere on the desktop, move the mouse to the top right hand corner and move down to activate the charm bar. So these are 5 charms. These are known as charms. So there's a Start charm, which is the same as the Start button in the bottom left hand corner, and that will take me to the Start screen. If I was presenting, for example, and I wanted to connect my laptop to a projector, I could click on Device Charm and click on Project and set the settings. If I click out, activate the charm bar again. The last area I want to show you is the Settings charm. There are different options here. You're used to seeing things like the control panel, but there are other areas where you can, for example, if you've got Wi-Fi on your laptop, you could click on the network area and confirm your Wi-Fi is connected. You can check sound, you can check brightness, you can power off your laptop or computer from the charm bar as well, as we've seen on the Start screen. And the final area is change PC settings. So when I click on there, I go to the count screen because that's the last screen that we went to in the change PC settings earlier in the session. If I click on the white arrow here, you'll notice that there's some other options you can select from. One option I will show you is, for example, if you want to set up a new printer, you could go to PC and Devices, and you could go to Devices option. Then if you click on Add a Device, you will then have the option to add a printer. If I want to get out of this section again, move the mouse to the top, the PC settings banner appears, click on the cross, and we go back to the Start screen. So that was an information session on covering on some of the key features that will help you get started in Windows 8.1. Thank you for watching and enjoy using Windows 8.1.